Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Ash and I am a professional dancer and personal trainer, and it is my mission to help you guys to become the best version of yourself. Now, in today's video, I thought that it would be great to throw it back to my full-time dance days at Brent Street and give you guys a bit of advice now that I am also a qualified personal trainer. Give you guys a little bit of advice on things that I wish I should have done and things that you can do to enhance your performance whilst in full-time dance. Now, I have been reflecting on my time over at Brent Street and thinking about kind of all the things that I did wrong in terms of overtraining, not fueling properly, and things that were actually detrimental to my performance that I didn't even know at the time. So I am here to share those things with you guys so that you do not make the same mistakes that I made when I was at full-time dance. But before we get into today's video, I am so close to that 1,000 subscriber mark, you guys, and I'm wanting to get there before the end of the month. So if you are not already, please make sure you are subscribed below. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button if you like this video, because it really helps support my channel and allows you to see more content like this. And without further ado, let's get into the video. My first tip is an oldie but a goodie, and it is the importance of sleep. Have you ever wanted a free way to absolutely transform your performance, improve your mood, energy levels, strength, and speed? Well, it already exists, and it is sleep. I think a lot of the time in the dance industry, there is a stigma that the harder you push yourself, the more you sacrifice, the more dedicated you are, the more respect you earn. And that just shouldn't be the case. As if going to the gym at 2 a.m., having a few hours of sleep in the middle, and then waking up at 5 a.m. will make you a better dancer than everyone else. That is so far from the case, you guys. Training hard and overexerting yourself is a useless waste of energy if you aren't recovering properly, as it will lead to burnout. And this can look like injury, fatigue, nervous system problems, mood disorders, and more. In fact, due to our rigorous training loads and late night performances, dancers often have poor sleep efficiency and duration, which makes them more susceptible to poor concentration, speed, and mental sharpness. In a 2009 study conducted on 24 professional ballet dancers in Berlin, they actually found that dancers' health rapidly deteriorated in relation to sleep deprivation in preparation for their premiere showcase. Now, in terms of biohacking and working alongside science to improve performance, I think that the professional dance world is significantly behind in a lot of areas. We often value sleep deprivation and wear it like a medal of pride, when in reality is actually hindering our performance ability. So with all that said, how can you utilize sleep to help you perform better? Well, by improving your sleep consistency and your sleep efficiency. Sleep consistency is going to bed and waking up at the same time every single day. A higher sleep consistency has been shown to be linked to a higher HRV, as it helps to stabilize circadian rhythm and therefore improve the amount of restorative sleep that you get each night, also known as your sleep efficiency. Now, I invested in a Whoop and I now use that to track these metrics and make sure that I am on track, but I know it's not a purchase that most dancers who are in full-time can make, because they're already making a big investment into their dance career. I wish that I had this when I was in full-time dance. I wish that I had known about the Whoop device and actually made the investment into it, but I know that's not something that everyone can do. There's also things like Apple Watch, which will help you track your sleep quality, but it doesn't show your efficiency and your consistency. Anyway, with all of that said, we know sleep is good for us, but how can we actually improve our sleep efficiency and consistency? Well, I have a few tips for you. Tip number one is to go to bed and wake up at the same time each night. Now, obviously this isn't always going to be attainable. So on show days or days you have extra late night classes, allow yourself extra time the next day to sleep in and make up for lost sleep, and then go back to a consistent bedtime for the rest of the nights. Number two is no caffeine after 1 p.m. This is because caffeine has a half-life of 6 hours and a quarter life of 12 hours. So it can disrupt your sleep if taken in the afternoon. Now, this is something that I really messed up in full time, and I would take like multiple pre-workouts during the day, and I would often take a pre-workout at like 7:30 p.m. before a late night class, sometimes even 9 p.m. And that really destroyed my sleep quality and meant that I was going to bed stressed, anxious, agitated, and then I often didn't get to bed till like 2 or 3 in the morning. Number 3 is no screens an hour before bed. Now, we all know this one, but the blue light can keep the brain awake as it messes with your circadian rhythm. So please make sure you put that phone down, give yourself an hour to decompress, and allow your nervous system to calm itself down, because if you are constantly overstimulated, you're not going to be able to wind down, and that is absolutely essential. That is something that I have had to implement over the last few years as well. And number 4 is incorporate a nervous system downshift into your nighttime routine. So this can be things like yoga, meditation, breath work, journaling, maybe reading a book, doing some coloring, something that can calm your nervous system down. Now, why I say this is because we need to be able to shift our body from the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight, back into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest and digest. Because we have been using the sympathetic nervous system all day with training, we need to be able to have some little tools to navigate and shift back into that rest and digest so that our nervous system can calm down and actually be able to heal our muscles and get enough sleep and digest our food. Okay, tip number 2 is you need to eat, and a lot. You have to fuel your body for performance, you guys. When I was in full-time dance, I wore my heart rate monitor by MyZone, which is the halter that goes around here, for an entire day of training because I was curious about my heart rate zones, but also curious about how many calories I was burning. I ended up burning 3,862 calories from 7:24 a.m. until 4 p.m. and that's not including the rest of the day. For reference, the average sedentary person burns around 1,500 calories in a day, and this means that in order to build lean muscle, you should be consuming a similar amount of calories, if not more calories, than you are burning. Now, eating enough calories to fuel your training as a dancer is so hard, especially when you're training 5 to 6 hours a day non-stop, and you need to have small little breaks in between to try and get your food in, but you don't want to feel sick. It is important to get enough protein, carbs, healthy fats, and micronutrients in each meal to support your training. Now, one of the ways that I did this during full time was by meal prepping and ensuring that I had enough of each food group in each meal. I didn't track my calories at all, and I don't think that you should either if you're a dancer in full time, unless you've been specifically told to by a doctor or a dietitian, because I know that dancers often struggle with body image and with food. Now, this tip may seem like an obvious one, but the reason that I put it in is because so often in full-time dance, I would see dancers around me pull out only one protein bar for their lunch. And the reasoning was that they wanted to slim down. But this type of underfueling is actually hindering you from achieving your performance goals and not helping you. Just remember that an underfueled athlete is a weak one. So please make sure that you are eating enough food and that you are including a source of protein, carbohydrates, healthy fats, and micronutrients in each meal. Now, before training, a good thing to go off of is making sure that you're having carbohydrates. And then after you finish your training, making sure you're refueling with a source of protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats. If you want more specifics, make sure that you go and see a sports dietitian or you follow sports dietitians on Instagram. I personally love to follow these ones here on my Instagram, and they just help to keep me inspired and give me new ideas of ways that I can fuel my body as an athlete. Tip number 3 is down regulating your nervous system. So full-time dance is a lot, and you spend a significant amount of time in fight or flight or your sympathetic nervous system with the amount of training that you do. It is so important to downregulate your nervous system at the end of the day to prevent burnout and frying your nervous system like I have. This doesn't necessarily look like stretching, but it can look like being more present with a good meal, practicing grounding techniques, doing breathing exercises, detoxing from devices and overstimulation, sitting in silence, and just noticing body sensations. And once again, the reason that I put this in is because I was not implementing these techniques. I was kind of just getting home, stretching, journaling, going to bed. And I think that especially in my second year of full-time dance, at least my first term of my second year of full-time dance, I really fried my nervous system because I was no longer implementing those down-regulating techniques that were so essential. And now I have a injury to my nerves, which is obviously my neck, but also I am having to work with specialized therapists in order to down-regulate my nervous system because I have been spending too much time in fight or flight, and now I have just like completely fried my nervous system and have had to pull everything back. So please do not be like me. Make sure that you are prioritizing your down-regulating time. And it seems so silly, seems so simple. I feel like as a full-time dancer, you might feel like that is not an essential thing, but trust me, as someone who has fried their nervous system, it is just as essential to rest as hard as you train. So making sure that you're incorporating those down regulation techniques at the end of your evening. Tip number 4 is to warm up and cool down before and after every single training day. Now, what is a warm-up? I feel like a lot of people don't actually know what it is. A warm-up isn't actually just about feeling warm or not feeling cold temperature-wise. It is about slowly and safely increasing the heart rate, engaging the muscles, and doing mobility work to increase synovial fluid into the joints. Basically speaking, a proper warm-up is about preparing the body for training, not just about doing a few static stretches, which I know us dancers love to do. A warm-up should include 5 minutes of light cardio at 50 to 60% of your max heart rate to gently warm up the body. This could be something like a walk or maybe some star jumps, jumping on the spot. This is then followed by 4 to 5 dynamic stretches to increase synovial fluid into the joints and ensure the muscles are warm. Now, cooling down is the part that I know a lot of people skip because they just want to go home and get into bed. But walking to the train station after full-time dance is not enough to properly cool down. I'm looking at you watching this video. A proper cool down should include 3 to 5 minutes of light cardio, starting at 50 to 60% of your max heart rate, and then slowly decreasing the intensity. This is then followed by 4 to 5 static stretches, so stretches that you hold for 30 seconds each. Now, young dancers, you might think that you don't need to warm up and cool down because you feel fine and you feel like you can just jump into it. But the reality is the body actually scientifically needs it, and it will prevent injury later on down the track. Cooling down properly also allows the nervous system to return once again back into that parasympathetic state, meaning that it can digest and rest rather than staying in fight or flight, that heightened mode. I am so passionate about this because I injured my neck by overworking my central nervous system without even realizing it, because I just constantly allowed my body to be in a sympathetic fight or flight nervous system state without allowing it to return to its baseline by warming up and cooling down properly. I often warmed up before class, but I often skipped the cool down until I went home and then did some stretches there. Not the best way to do it. Tip number 5 is including deload periods. So there is a concept in the fitness and exercise science world called periodization. Now, periodization is the strategic structuring of training cycles into macro cycles, mesocycles, and microcycles to vary intensity, volume, and focus. This maximizes long-term performance and prevents things like overtraining and injury. It also allows people to specifically peak for certain events. Now, part of periodization is including deload periods into your training program to allow your muscles, joints, and central nervous system to recover from hard or challenging training. Deloading is an important part of training as an athlete because it allows us to prevent burnout, injury, and plateauing, both in the studio and in the gym. It allows you to come back stronger and fitter, giving your body time to adapt to the vigorous training that you have been doing. So, how can you include deloading into your dance training? In full-time dance, this is where it gets tricky because you have your schedule curated for you. And often there is little to no deloading occurring in the full-time dance timetable, which is why so many athletes become burnt out, mentally drained, or injured by the end of each term. For a deload, you want to be reducing the intensity and the volume of your training, making your effort and weights only 30 to 50% of your usual load. So here's my suggestion as a personal trainer, keeping in mind the busy and intense schedules of full-time dance. Every 4 weeks, schedule a deload training week into your calendar. Okay, put it in there. Put it in the calendar. During this week, pull back your energy in class. You're not being lazy. You're allowing your body to recover so you can come back stronger. Focus on honing in your technique and movement pathways without overexerting yourself. So this isn't about giving 110%. Then in the gym, reduce your weights to 50% or less of what you normally lift and decrease your sets if you would like. The point of this is to focus on technique and muscle activation whilst still allowing your body to recover and adapt. During this period, I want you guys to prioritize recovery and sleep. This means no extra classes outside of full time and letting your body actually get the rest that it needs. And if you're feeling burnt out, take a day off of class. I know it feels like you're gonna get like shot or it's the end of the world, but if you are genuinely feeling really burnt out and exhausted, please remember that it is okay to rest and it is actually helping your body in the long run, not hurting it. Okay guys, those are all of my performance enhancement tips coming from a professional dancer and personal trainer. I really hope that you enjoy them, and if you are someone who is going to full-time dance this year, sound off in the comments below. I wish you all the best of luck. Please remember that it will be one of the best years of your life, but also one of the hardest. So you need to implement strategies such as these to make sure that you are playing the long game and not burning yourself out before the year is even over. As always, please make sure that if you liked this video, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe down below because it really helps support my channel and push these videos to other dancers who may need similar advice. Other than that guys, I will see you in the next video, which will be my Gold Coast vlog because I am traveling to Burleigh Heads on Saturday. Today is Wednesday, so I'm feeling very excited and I will see you guys in the next video over in Ulaanbaatar in the Gold Coast. Bye!